to our crypto spiritual energy update and integrity rating. My name is Yona Brindis, airing from transCODES in Florida, hopefully with a better audio quality this time. I want to welcome you to the week of 20th till 26th of July. All right, so what are we doing here? Just real quick, we're taking collective energies and the sentiments that come from the collective energy update, which if you haven't watched this before, go to the YouTube channel, check this out. Like a couple of hours before the crypto spiritual update, I do an in-depth collective energy update for the week, where I take this data and transfer this into the cryptocurrency sphere. Okay, this is experimental and it has nothing to do with fortune telling. Okay, this is all based on energy code work and energy testing and actual sessions, like roughly 150, 200 energy sessions that I have every week here at transCODES in conjunction with those fantastic energy workers, or trans coaches as we call them here at Crypto Staffer and Crypto Spiritual, who are also doing the crypto calibration with me, the integrity testing. And before we get to the rating, which is very, very interesting today, I just want to comment real quick on the developments in the market. We're finally seeing the manifestation of this shift that I predicted here in the last 2 weeks. Very positive news. The SEC has been or is discussing the ETF regulations, the security regulations on cryptocurrencies, and we can expect something to come out here towards the middle of August. So there's a few dates that are floating around, 10th of August, 16th of August. I think it'll be past the 16th of August that will clarify once and for all, based on the American authority here for securities that is regulating how we are supposed to see cryptocurrencies and what legal requirements there are for ICOs, for the ICO process, and for the cryptocurrency tokens and coins itself. So this will bring in this like long-awaited clarity that then will most likely also lead to this institutional money that we had been waiting for to come in a more sort of structured and organized way. Now we've been doing this the crypto calibration here for a long time, and long time considering. We started doing this like roughly 9-10 months ago, and we're starting to build a really nice database. So you're going to see some of that here coming up very soon, where we compare tokens. Okay, at this point we take your guys' recommendations for tokens, and when I say tokens I mean altcoins as well as currencies, so I'm not really differentiating here, for apps, for wallets, for exchanges, for mining pools, investment pools, and also crypto celebrities, so persons. So we're exploring together here the integrity of this cryptosphere, because we know that it's based, its birthing, so to speak, is based on open source decentralization, cutting out the middleman, and really sort of promoting grassroots movements. And ICOs, the initial coin offerings, are a brand new way of funding a startup, and we don't really have that much experience yet. So we can expect that, just like in general sort of venture capital environment, or IPOs and initial paper offerings for stock market listed companies, that 95% of them are not going to make it. And so the integrity rating that we bring in here has nothing to do with their actual product. Most of the testers do blind testing. They don't even know which companies they're testing. They don't need to know anything about the company. We're just measuring the consciousness level of the investment, the token, the team behind it, and the functionality. And this brings a very, very interesting new perspective here for the conscious investor. But before we get there, just real quick, the observation here that we do with the crypto spiritual market sentiment and the barometer that you see here next to me is not a financial advice, or it doesn't tell you that you know, this is a good or a bad time. It tells you sort of the ups and downs of the sentiment. But in reality, you know, and the way manifestation works, what really happens is that the sentiment itself, okay, is reflected with a delay. So, you know, the actual market prices, you know, in my observation here for this last year and a half, typically responds a week or two later. So this is not a crystal ball thing here. We're looking at, you know, the collective energies and how they may reflect. And you know, if you take all this too literal, what can happen is that you take the positive market sentiment, like that, the shift of that came in here 2 weeks ago. When you take that as a buying signal or translate that into financial advice, which it isn't, and have like sort of a bad timing with that, because you know, from the moment where the sentiment actually manifests in the prices, you know, there's a little bit delay. So maybe like, let's assume that it takes about a week. This is my way of feeling this right now, you know, that I feel the shift a week ahead of time. Okay, so we're looking at still a time of transition here. So we're not fully there yet with, you know, like set market dynamics. It's very unpredictable. We talked about this last week. And so in times of transition, it's very difficult to predict anything because nobody really knows. It's still kind of Wild West. We're still not in the early adopter phase. There's no set rules yet, okay? And so I really want you to understand that the crypto sentiment that we're measuring here is only a tendency, and you will most likely see the manifestation of that a little later. So don't make the mistake to buy high and sell low, because then you sort of feel that you went with the wrong horse. Better wait a couple of days, wait till things settle, wait till you can feel it yourself, and then make your decisions, of course, based on your due diligence, your own research, and you know, your own inner heart feeling. One more thing I want to mention about last week's energy is very interesting. Litecoin bought a stake of, I think, 9% at the WEG Bank in Germany, a smaller private bank. This is very interesting development, guys. And you know that I've been a big, not promoter, but you know that that I'm very fond of Litecoin, and I see a bright future there for Litecoin. I think that's an interesting move to create a corporation with a bank where you can actually produce, you know, services for cryptocurrency investors, you know, that have been treated somewhat shabby by their banks, especially here in the United States and Australia as well, Canada as well. So way to go, Charlie Lee, great idea. Everything is pointing at, you know, better development right now. So there's an enthusiasm, there's an optimism right now, but you got to be a little careful. Until the 3rd week of August, I'm not seeing this stable. So we still will see a lot of pump and dump here, especially in the next week. It's been, you know, expected for so long, you know, this bull run. All right, that. But still, you know, this fear of losing it all kind of sits in our bones. So people will be a little fickle, you know, they'll sell quickly to just cash in, you know, gains, short-term gains, all right? So stay grounded, stay, you know, real with your investments. I think that this is a very, very good time to look at buying, all right? And there is no question in my mind that we're going to have a 50K, originally planned as a 100K Bitcoin party at the end of the year. maybe that's still possible, but you know, whether it is a certain project, a certain technology, or a cryptocurrency, always make sure that you really have a good feeling for the company and the team. All right. By the way, please use this opportunity here to comment. Let me know how you're feeling, how this translates for you, what you think about the integrity testing. We need your guys' suggestions for the testing. So all of the companies and applications that we tested here came as a suggestion from you. Thank you for that, by the way. But also please comment on certain observations that you have. Okay, this is really important here. We're developing sort of ways to measure, you know, the market sentiment. So last time I got a question about chasing listings, I think I called this, and what this was referring to was that in these times where the markets were mostly red and we were all very frustrated, you know, the only way to really make money was to either ask a fortune teller or you know, check on Coinbase or check on Binance. Binance very, very prominent right now in that which tokens are going to be listed first or next, because we've seen, you know, a lot of spikes there, you know, for maybe 12 hours or 24 hours. But as you can understand, it's also misleading, because if you don't have the timing right and you don't necessarily know exactly the time when they're listing, then you know, you can miss the boat. I've had a few experiences with that myself, and you can be very frustrating. So chasing listings, I would not recommend you guys to do this. If you want to invest in a company because it's you know, it feels right to you and it has a good integrity, you know, in the project and the team, you know, then do this because you see a vision there, you see something midterm or long term with there, so that you can have that centeredness, that you know, you don't worry about the ups and downs. There's things, there's tokens that I've invested in at ICO last year that had an entire roller coaster rides, and I'm still hodling them because I understand the integrity aspect of my investment, and so I'm you know, I'm not really waiting for anything to happen. I know that based on the integrity of this token, it will be successful. And most of the recommendations, again, here is not the financial advice that I made at the beginning of the year, you know, are starting to you know, really sort of come forward as, you know, within the sort of the top 20, top 50 tokens here listed on coinmarketcap.com, you know, because they have substance and they're actually producing, they're delivering products now. Okay, so these are things that you want to look at. So let's move on to the crypto integrity testing. And as I am talking with you here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll through the tokens we've tested. 5 tokens this week, 1 wallet and 1 celebrity, and all of the results were extremely surprising to me. So let's get started here with SIRIN Labs. This was SIRIN Labs was a recommendation from you, as were all the other crypto tokens and projects that we've tested. And SIRIN Labs has done pretty well here in the last week. They are promising a crypto phone. Okay, so they're making the transition from crypto just being sort of a software thing into a you know, new way of you know, doing your phone minutes or your phone contracts, and they're promising to become the world's leader in secure open source consumer electronics, bridging the gap between the mass market and the blockchain economy. Very, very interesting project. And when we did the testing, what came to my attention, that there's a little bit of frustration in the team, a little bit of fear, I want to say, almost, because things are, you know, not quite mature yet on the technological, you know, on the actual hardware level. It needs to mature a little more. And I don't know about you guys. I mean, I've been in hardware development before, and I know what it takes to actually do this, or fill in this gap, you know, between software and hardware. And there's so much that most people don't fully understand and don't know about, that I think we should be patient here. The token itself calibrates at 200, and 200, just as a reminder, is the threshold here for truth. It's the threshold for trustworthiness. So it's a trustworthy investment, if you will. The token will do well in the blockchain, in the cryptocurrency environment. Okay, the technology here, on the practical part, seems still somewhat flawed. Okay, and there's a bit of frustration in the team, but the project itself, and you know, sort of the forward thinking here, because this is where it needs to go, is very visionary. And even though you know, the people, the team calibrates at 190, which is relatively high, you know, we've discussed this before. The conscious level of the team, you know, is a mixture of people who are very idealistic, and a mixture of people who just do this for money. So 190 is high up there. You know, it's not all the way trustworthy and integrous, but pretty good. 193 for the technology and the project itself means that you know, there'll be issues with hardware and so forth, but the token itself with 200 you know, shows that it's trustworthy, which means that the overall rating of 194 may be a bit misleading. I think that this is very visionary, that it will bode well for SIRIN Labs. I really love the company, and I think that they just need to have some more time for maturing, you know, as the team as well. So I'm pretty sure we're going to see more things coming out here from SIRIN Labs, and I'm looking forward to them. Oh, and you know, just because I've never, I think, actually mentioned this, I'm not getting paid for any of these ratings, guys, and some companies have been almost like a little scared, you know, of what our testings are going to show, and there's no need for that. Okay, we're not judging anything, and like I've said, you know, the people who are testing these companies here with me, most of them don't even know what they're testing. Okay, and there's no judgment in this, so don't mistake this with an ICO rating, okay, or something along those lines. We're purely testing the vibrational match here of these companies, projects, applications with the overall consciousness level of decentralized, of the decentralized cryptocurrency sphere. And we are in the middle of the transition into this new paradigm of business making and of you know, developing you know, interaction with the customer and marketing and so forth. And so we'll see a lot of different aspects here that have nothing to do with just sort of technical analysis or anything like that. All right, so let's look at CAMPUSCOIN. Yes, some of you have been waiting for the rating on CAMPUSCOIN, and I was blown away. Okay, so the project is basically creating somewhat like an intermediary currency for colleges, for your kids, that can be used you know, with vendors, that can be used on campus, that can be used in restaurants, that can be used you know, for the parents to send money to the kids as they need it. And I don't know if you know this or if I've mentioned this before, but I actually have 2 college kids, and I love it. I love the idea, you know, to use the coin sort of as intermediary, because there's often issues with they need money now, and they can't pay for it, and then it takes 2 days to transfer the money, and if I send the money I have to pay fees and all that. So it's for students, for schools and colleges, themselves, for perhaps even tuition and so forth down the road, for retail stores as well as for parents and restaurants, and kind of like we know this maybe from some sort of frequent buyer systems, where you build coins when you do something and you pay with coins when you want something, but where the coin itself also builds builds a value. And this is very interesting here when we look at the integrity rating for CAMPUSCOIN. So the project itself, okay, calibrates very high. That's one of the highest calibrating values that we've seen here before. Okay, so we have 206 for the token, and that bodes really, really well, guys, really well. However, there's issues with the team at 193. We're getting used to this now as we keep going. I think if the team calibrates right around 190, and above, that's something that means that this is a really cool team. Now, in this case, it seems though that the team is not round yet, maybe a very small team, so I'm not counting in all the corporations, but the actual core team that develops sort of all these project like collaborations that are needed. So this will be a coin that heavily depends on how many businesses, restaurants, and so forth you can sign up for this project. And so this seems not really round yet, but they're very, very committed. Okay, and I think that we're going to see something like that from other companies as well. The concept is not new, but to translate that into blockchain and into cryptocurrency is new. So there'll be some corrections that they have to go through, and the people here with 193, the technology with 184, so that means that they need to refine a lot of things still. The overall rating of 194 again here is a little lower than, well, actually significantly lower than the token itself. So what that means is that it's probably going to be a very successful token, guys, even if there's issues with it, or if there's like not with the investment side of it, but with some of the contracts, some of the payment processes maybe not entirely working around yet, and so forth. So we got to be patient with this. I think it's a way showing CAMPUSCOIN, cool project. The energies are looking really, really good, guys, really good. And so another one of those really, really good looking tokens that we've tested here is ZILLIQA. Okay, so ZILLIQA calibrated even higher in the token as as your investment. Okay, as in sort of the growth rate that we can expect there. So what does ZILLIQA do? So it provides a smart contract environment, produces tokens that can be used in social media or gaming, entertainment, that can be used for advertisement, also for payment, because it's a very technologically advanced protocol, that the blockchain protocol that they were using. And so really good for programming decentralized applications, DApps, really way showing. I mean, 208, guys, one of the highest ratings that we had for a token, which means ZILLIQA is probably going to do really well as far as like their currency is concerned. The people in the team calibrate over 200. Yay! There aren't many that do, which means they're trustworthy. That's a good team. All right, they will do really well. Now, the technology in the project, which also encompasses the white paper, at 200 as well. Trustworthy. There's only one thing that we got here with the testing of ZILLIQA that was a little sort of on the negative side, and that is that their marketing is very aggressive. It's kind of like old paradigm-ish type of marketing, which I understand that has to be done to gain the attention and to gain the community and all that. But you know, guys, I don't know if anyone, you know, involved in ZILLIQA will ever watch this, but your guys' integrity levels are so high, you can trust that it's going to work without the pushy type of marketing. You can do this, guys. This is, you know, with this type of energy that you're working with, and the rating of 203 as an overall consciousness rating, that's pretty cool. That's, you know, you don't need to push too hard. You don't need to have, you know, this super aggressive type of sales tactic that would, you know, sort of shy some of the other people away. Next up here is a project that was also recommended by you guys, and that had some spikes here this last week, called DOCADEMIC. Okay, DOCADEMIC was in the news, or at least sort of crypto Twitter news, you know, a couple months back. It was heavily promoted by John McAfee, you know, as one of the, you know, sort of way showing new ICOs. It's a medical token, or medical token currency, so MTC is the abbreviation. And, you know, what it tries to do is kind of like CAMPUSCOIN, but, you know, for doctors, hospitals, healthcare providers. It allows interested parties, you know, and this could be anything, you know, this could be a producer of a stethoscope, or, you know, so X-ray machine, or a doctor, or, you know, a patient, really. The exchange of data, as well as, you know, digital assets like money, you know, to pay for products or services in the blockchain. And it encourages sort of a repository for health-related information. And, you know, this was interesting for me because some of you may know this. 2 years ago, we started a project called Evolve, very similar to this, just without the cryptocurrency aspect of it. And there are some integrity issues that you can see here that are tricky. Okay, and so what's the issue with that? So first of all, we all kind of know that, you know, on the long run, the blockchain, you know, will bring up ethical issues in regards to, you know, how public data really should be on the blockchain, which is why there's so many privacy coins and, you know, centralized or closed systems within the blockchain. All of that is legitimate. But when it comes to like personal data and data sharing, you know, there's a bit of an issue with this. And I can see how, from like, say, from a hospital point of view, or from a health insurance point of view, DOCADEMIC can be a really, really cool project. And even from a user, you know, patient point of view, it would make a lot of things easier, but there's also ethical problems with that. And this is reflected here in the integrity testing. So the first, the token or the investment itself at 185, guys, that's, you know, that's not good enough for me to call this an integrous token, okay? Because it's fear-based and, of course, greed-based, you know, which we've discussed here before. It's the old paradigm of business making. So it's all really based on self-gain, which in the long run won't really do that well in the crypto sphere. The people, the team at 180, same thing, guys. I don't know. I'm seeing, you know, a lot of sort of old world type of characters here, and, you know, not really this crypto spirit reflected. So 180 is too low, guys. That's, you know, based on fear and anger. And I'm also actually seeing, or actually one of our testers saw some issues with the ICO contract, or the token contract itself, and a little bit of a crisis going on with the technology there. So at 179, that's pretty low. Okay, so 181 is the overall rating for DOCADEMIC. And, while this is an interesting project, which will probably be picked up by many sort of old paradigm type of businesses, it's not fully convincing and it's not fully developed yet either. So the problems that are there, I don't know. Those would be typical things that these old paradigm type of businesses experience here within the cryptocurrency sphere, simply because their adaptability is not good enough. Okay. But next, one of my favorite tokens here since last year, NEO. Okay, NEO, and this wasn't too surprising for us, as a token calibrated at a 202. It's trustworthy, it's truth-based. NEO is somewhat similar to Ethereum, although it came later, so it has a slightly different technology or smart contract language. It has a different sort of approach, and with that, also being Chinese versus sort of Western world, it sees it more based on massive adaptation. The cool thing about NEO is it's a non-profit community, okay, and it has developed a blockchain technology that allows, similar like Bitcoin, similar like Ethereum, to be adopted by others, which is very much in line with the crypto spirit. Okay, it was founded in 2014, so it's just it's been around for a long time, almost as long as Ethereum, but it's really more geared towards smart economy, and this is the part that I really like about NEO, besides the crypto spirit being sort of represented here, that it will all lead to a very smart programming, very smart apps. We tested NOS, the operating system based on the NEO blockchain or smart contracting environment for smartphones. I see a lot of innovative power here in NEO, and this is really represented in the integrity testing. So the people and the team around NEO and in the leadership at 199, that's pretty much based on truth, is a very stable type of core team here. And the tech issues that are there, that are always there, this is what I mentioned earlier with SIRIN labs. When you try to adapt software and hardware, and from the sort of engineer point of view, there's always flaws, there's always issues, and we see this with NEO here in the crypto testing. So the technology with 189 and 98, sorry, just slightly lower than the rest of it. But it's a very enthusiastic core team, and I'd say the future for NEO is very bright. Next up is a wallet. So when we test applications, I just want to bring this in here. We're testing a little differently. So we have 3 values that we test as well, but these values are based on different aspects or factors that play in. And our next contender is ETHOS, but this time the wallet, the ETHOS wallet that has just released in over 100 countries in the world. And I've shared this with you guys before. I was a beta tester with ETHOS, so I was very enthusiastic and super curious about the testing. Okay, and the results here are, as far as the wallet function is concerned, at 195, that's okay. All right, that's okay. I mean, from a user standpoint, it has great functionality. It looks great. It's easy to use. I love it. Okay, but 195, However, ETHOS has developed much bigger than it was actually planned, or at least so it seems to me, and it has you know, much more functionality than we expected. So I think one of the issues here with the people in the organization at 189 and also the tech, you know, means that they have to adjust very, very fast. They're one of the first sort of comprehensive wallet, fiat gateway, exchange, you know, on the market here, you know, in this race, okay? And they're growing much faster than expected, so they need to be very flexible, very adaptable, okay? The technology itself at the safety at 190, that's a little low. I would like to retest the ETHOS wallet, you know, maybe 6 months down the road. It needs to refine. However, in this case here, you know, I want to bring up the token, the ETHOS token that we've tested 2 months ago or 6 weeks, 4 weeks ago. And this is interesting, guys, because the token itself calibrates higher than the application, than the wallet, with 219s, huge, which means that the investment itself looks really, really good. Okay, and also the people and the team behind it. Okay, so what's the difference between the team behind ETHOS as a company or as a token, and ETHOS as the wallet? Okay, this is simple. When we're looking at the people behind the application, we're looking at the actual developers. And when we're looking at the token, we're looking at the leadership, you know, and the people who bring in sort of the visions and so forth. So ETHOS is one of those tokens that has calibrated really, really high. Very, very nice. So don't be disappointed here, those ETHOS fans out there. You know, if the wallet doesn't calibrate as high as the token itself, you know, my tip is, you know, I can't really say this because I'm not a financial advisor, but you know, consider getting the token, consider playing around with it, using the wallet. You know, you know, wallet software has to become more intelligent, has to become more, you know, user friendly here in the future. And if they are adaptable, and it looks like it, okay, because the team, you know, seems very enthusiastic, I think then they can sustain in that race, you know, who's going to do, or who's going to become, you know, sort of the most popular wallet. ETHOS is definitely up there for me. And last but not least, we're looking at a crypto celebrity. Okay, so crypto celebrity today is going to be John McAfee. Okay, so many of you may know John McAfee from his fame in the old PC days, you know, as sort of the antivirus guy or antivirus company. And of course, this is where he is getting his celebrity status from. Within the cryptosphere, John McAfee has made a lot of waves with a lot of different things, okay? Just to mention a few, you know, he's had, actually I recommended his ICO reviewing team. He's had some really good ICO reviews, but some of them were sponsored, and so, you know, those were censored. He was forced to take them down. He's catching a lot of resistance, a lot of, you know, sort of negative energies from the outside. And, you know, the consciousness rating here that showed his overall conscious level of 195 kind of confirms this. So he's up there, guys, you know. He's trustworthy, but not always. And some of that, oh, the shit that he catches and all the negative and the trolling and all that he has in his life, also in his personal life, you know, it's a result of projecting too much. So I understand this hostility. You know, I've been in you know, in this sort of, you know, woo-woo field for 20 years, you know, while, you know, being a scientist and being a management consultant at the same time, you know, and I know how much shit you catch if you have a different opinion or if you bring in different views. Okay, so understand it, but it doesn't have to lead to us seeing others as hostile because or blaming for things, because this can significantly lower our energy. So he's not always trustworthy, guys. Okay, but I still think that he's a cool visionary. Okay, and that he brings in a very beautiful color here in this rainbow of crypto energies. And there are some interesting memes around John McAfee. So if you Google him, with crypto as a search word, then you'll see some funny things around John McAfee. So, John, I love you. I think you're doing a great job, being a front runner for so many things, so don't take this as an attack or anything, just don't let yourself get pulled into this hostility. All right, guys. I hope you guys can use this next week to make good decisions. All right, it's a really interesting time that we're in right now. Be careful, lots of pumps and dumps, lots of, fickleness still here. But the overall trend is now clear. It's now clear. Like I've said last week and the week before, we'll be surprised how fast this capital that has sort of been running away from the crypto market in the last 6 months is going to flow back and more. 2-3 months tops, and then we're talking again. So by the end of October, it's going to be really, really interesting. All right. Thank you, everybody. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the transcript and the infographics here in the description, and let me know what companies, what tokens, what ICOs, what DApps or exchanges or wallets you want me to test. We have the list for next week almost finished, but the one in 2 weeks we're still compiling. Thank you, everyone.